Welcome back to Cactus Wrestling. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Today we are going to rank the best Ohio State wrestlers under coach Tom Ryan. And we did this similarly with Iowa wrestling and Tom Brands. You can check out that video link right here. But today we're going to focus on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Let's start it off with our honorable mentions, and I'm going to kick this one off, and I'm going to put Joey McKenna as honorable mention. This is a guy who transferred from Stanford, so he only wrestled for a few seasons under Tom Ryan, and he never won a championship. So for those reasons, I think he's
Yeah, he
definitely.
finished second and third while there. And while at Stanford, he did not place. But I mean, still two-time All-American, solid performance, especially making the national finals. I would have then throw in JD Bergman. He took second and fourth under Tom Ryan there. I mean, he had a career record 129.36, which is, I mean, it's good. It's not superb, but I would say he'd definitely would be an honorable mention. Another one I would throw in as an honorable mention is Reese Humphrey. He also took second and third. Two-time All-American right there. 117 and 33. Kind of comparable to Bergman, but slightly better placement. Very comparable to Joey McKenna. Um, but I mean, they all finished second and then third or fourth one season.
No,
So
no, another guy is Nick Heflin, just short of 100 career wins, 99 and 28. So that's a 78% win percentage, which is right on tier with a lot of these other guys on the list.
right.
Three-time All-American, fifth, and second. Uh, definitely honorable mention, but some of these guys on the list are definitely more worthy of being on here than Nick Heflin.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Heflin's probably better than the first three that we mentioned, but still not quite in the top 10.
And
Um,
last guy is Micah Jordan. Jordan wrestling family is huge with Ohio State. He was a national finalist, three-time All-American, 115 and 21. So almost at that, and almost at like an 85%, win percentage. Pretty high up there. But he was, like I said, national finalist one year. Fourth and sixth his other 2 years. Um, a solid wrestler for them, and the Jordan family roots run deep with Ohio State.
yeah, just like Heflin, I think him and Heflin are kind of above
Yeah,
Free
just
Bergman
miss
and
out.
McKenna, but not quite enough good enough to make the top 10.
So
So,
let's dive into the top 10.
so yeah. One of you guys want to throw out who you think would be number 10 on this list?
Yeah, I was gonna
Kyle,
say we don't have this preset already, so we're kind of doing this live. Mike, go ahead.
Kyle Snyder. No, I'm just
Oh
joking.
shoot!
No, 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 no. This is actually tough because I feel like Ohio State has some really top-heavy talent.
Yeah,
Similar situation to Iowa, where they had a lot of really talented guys, but I think Ohio State's, you know, bottom of their top 10 maybe isn't as deep as Iowa.
I was gonna throw out Sammy Sasso.
I was going to say Sasso would be one guy that I consider in there.
It's tough because he's the only active guy on this list.
That's
Uh,
yeah.
if he wins a national championship next year, then he probably goes higher up the list.
even if he all Americans next year, I think he's going to go higher up on the list.
I'd really like to see Sasso not cut so much weight. I think that we've talked about this is he gasses out, and any Ohio State fan can see this. He cuts a ton. His younger brother wrestles 220, and he is not heavy 220. He is a very lean 220. They say that
Right.
Sasso is one of the highest, most weight cutting guys on the entire team. And I think we see that when he gets deep into matches. I mean, some people might remember when he gave up three takedowns in 30 seconds at the All Star Classic against Gomez, in a match that he pretty much had locked up at that point. I think if Sasso wrestles like 157, even 165, we might see him have the energy to back up the skills that he already has and make a huge leap forward. But I think at 149, he's still going to continue to struggle and never really reach his peak.
Right.
So, we can see, this guy does still have eligibility, and we can see either a really incredible last season or, another like good but not amazing season that we know that he can produce. So I guess it depends where he goes and where the coaches think he should go. But I think 10 is fine for him for right now, but he could definitely move up in the future.
And just to point out, there's 6 individuals that are national champions.
Yeah.
So I do think those guys probably have a little bit more of an edge than the non
Right.
champions. So Sasso not being an NCAA champion yet, I think lands him 10.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll throw out a couple guys to fill in, or maybe even 3 guys. I'd say Palmer, Jordan, Colin Moore. Those 3 guys are. I'm not sure if I'm underselling any of them, but like I feel like those are 3 guys that did not win a national title. They all took second one year. I mean, Colin Moore did have the COVID year cut him short, so he probably would have been a 4-time All-American. Maybe he would have won 2020 national title.
I do feel for Colin Moore because I think he was one of those guys that was the favorite to win.
Yeah,
during that COVID year.
I mean, I know Ohio State kind of dedicated to him. Like they put up a national champion like poster, like as if he won the title in their gym because he was the number 1 seed at the tournament.
Right. So I think I definitely give him a little bit more credit there. Whereas a Bo Jordan, 4-time All-American, third, second, and fifth. I would think that Colin Moore is also a 4-time All-American. I mean, technically he is because the COVID gave.
Yeah, they did give the top 8 seeds All-American status. So I think you're right. Jordan would be below Moore. I think actually Palmer probably would also be. Lance Palmer would probably be below Moore as well. I mean, granted, Palmer has the most wins, but he also has the most losses of the 3. He was 121 and 33 compared to Bo Jordan 88 and 14, Colin Moore 110 and 11. Like, and even Lance Moore's finishes are kind of the least impressive, even though he is a 4-timer. He finished 4th, 8th, 4th, and then 2nd. So I think I'd throw Lance Moore as number 9.
Lance Palmer.
Lance
Palmer. Yeah,
combining names.
Lance
Palmer.
Yeah. What about Colin Palmer? We didn't talk about Colin Palmer.
Yeah, Colin.
I think I mean, Lance Palmer had 33 career losses. That's the most on this list.
I mean, I would throw him there, but I mean, then you look at Bo Jordan. He only had 88 wins.
Yeah, Bo Jordan's a 4-time All-American.
So is Lance Palmer.
Yeah, I was comparing more to Colin Moore.
So, I mean, it's hard to because like if you look at the win percentage, Palmer's is only 78, where Bo Jordan's 86, but Bo Jordan had 102 matches, Palmer had 154 matches. So, but Bo Jordan's 4 finishes are technically probably more impressive because I mean Palmer had an 8th place finish, 2 fourths, and a 2nd. Bo, Bo had 2/3, a 2nd, and then a 5th. So like
I don't know, 33 career losses. That's a lot.
Does seem kind of high. I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna stand by Palmer being number 9.
I could get down with that.
Yeah.
So that's where I would land on that. And I mean, just through talking that, I think Colin Moore is probably ahead of Bo Jordan. I think Bo Jordan's probably number 8.
Yeah, I say Jordan's probably 8 and Moore being, losing out on what would have been a pretty much hopefully guaranteed national title is that's a tough one.
Bo Jordan was always one of those guys where it was like, oh, it's finally my year, but he never.
Yeah, it's finally my year to not win it. Okay.
Bo Jordan was always a placer, but you didn't know if he'd ever, fully get the top.
So this is an interesting I mean, in the Iowa video, we put Sorensen ahead of a one-time national champ. So I'm just curious, would you guys put Colin Moore ahead of any of these guys that won a national title? Like, I mean, he does have that asterisk of he was favored to win it, but
You know, it's interesting because Jay Jaggers was a two-time NCAA champion, but he also has 33 career losses. So I'm just trying to compute how that's possible in my mind.
well, because he was not favored to win it. He went on an upset train one of the years he won it.
Right. So do we reward an NCAA performance rather than like a season longevity type of thing? I guess you have to.
You getting that title definitely has more weight
That's what the
than
regular season doesn't
Yeah.
matter in any sport.
He does have the lowest win percentage out of anyone on our list, though.
who Jaggers.
Yeah, Jaggers, even compared to the honorable mentions, he has the lowest win percentage.
He's got
But
the
he's
lowest
like
win percentage, but he's one of
three.
the only guys with two titles.
Yeah, that's true.
He's
I mean,
the
He
only
like
one of
no wait
three.
no he's the only guy with two titles because then it's a three-time title and a four-time title. The other
Yeah.
guys that won only won once.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we have to give
That's
him.
tricky.
I think we have to give him the credit, but also like maybe knock him for his percentage a little bit.
Yeah,
I
I
would
mean
say
that's
maybe Mike Pucillo is, he's three-time All-American. He took sixth, first, and second. And his career,
six first.
107
So
and 16 is his career.
so do you put him ahead of Moore?
I like Colin Moore. It's tough. I think that he was a shoe-in for that title with the COVID year, but it's hard to give a guy that much credit because we all know what happens.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, say even if he just All American, do you think that's more impressive than Pucillo's title? Like,
No, I think you got to give credit for the title. I think the
did
reason
we
we
get it
gave
wrong in Iowa?
I think we gave Sorensen more credit was because he was a four-time All-American and the champion from Iowa. I forget his name, but he was only a two-time All-American, and we gave
It was Jay
credit
Borschel, right?
Jay Borschel,
Jay Borschel. Yeah, so I
who
think
was also a Hodge finalist.
Yeah, he was.
Check out the Hodge video for more info.
Yeah.
um, so I would probably put. I would probably. I could see.
I'm kind of in favor of Moore being ahead of Pacillo.
Wow, that's a little bold. I mean, Colin Moore is only really has three years, and none of
But
them
he
were.
wrestled the entirety of that year except the NCAA tournament.
And so did Spencer Lee, and we saw how that
Spencer
turned
Lee
out.
actually did wrestle the NCAA tournament in
Yeah, but we
his
don't.
senior year.
But if we were going by just the regular season, we don't know how it could have ended. I mean,
Right.
Spencer Lee pinned Matt Ramos, in under a minute in the same season that he got beaten by him by points and then pinned.
Yeah, that's fair because Colin Moore might have finished sixth.
Colin Moore did have a tendency to kind of drop the ball at NCAA's. I mean, look how he did with Bo Nickel.
True.
Yeah,
It's true.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I think you can't reward a guy for the what if.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
I think
fair.
that
That's fair. All right, leave Colin Moore where he's at
I
number
think
7.
Facillo is probably at the bottom though of the champions.
That's
I think
fair.
it's either him or Miles Martin.
Well, he's got less losses than Miles Martin, and he's got less wins than Miles Martin.
But
They got like the same win percentage though.
Miles Martin beat three-time NCAA champion Bo Nickel.
He did, but then he also had a terrible senior season, so
He blew
he
it
got
to Max
upset
Dean,
as the
though.
favorite.
He blew it to Max Dean though, who ended up being a multiple-time NCAA finalist and NCAA champion. So it's not like he just blew it to some nobody.
But then again, I'm also saying he blew it. I mean, Pucillo was a returning champ and didn't win either. So, and then he also has 4-time over 3 times. So yeah, Miles Martin's probably ahead of
Like
Pucillo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Because then I mean, I know you were kind of knocking on Jaggers, but would you put Nathan Tomasello, a 1-time champ, over a 2-time champ in Jay Jaggers? I mean, 2-time champ, 3-time All-American compared to a 4-time All-American, triple third.
I would put Tomasello over Jaggers. I mean,
I
Tomasello
would too.
is almost 93%. I mean,
Yeah, 108 compared to 108 and 33. Yeah, I think you're right. Oh yeah, I mean, Jay Jaggers, he had an extra, or not an extra. Nathan Tomasello had an extra year. He had four All Americans compared to Jay Jaggers three. I mean, yeah, okay, 2 titles and a 7th compared to first, triple, third. It's tough to say because I mean 108 and 33. That's the most losses on the list. I mean, or second most losses, tied for second most losses on the list. I think Tomasello had more consistency. I mean, slightly he had less losses, but by a fourth.
I mean, Jaggers lost almost 25% of the matches he wrestled.
Yeah,
that's
I think you got to reward the consistency. I mean, it's a one-time title, 2-time. I mean, how do you knock the 2-time champ? But because the 2-time champ clearly was not like a superstar. I mean,
he was only a 3-time All-American, and one of his was a 7th place finish. Whereas Nato, I think, was top 5, right?
He took third 3 times.
Yeah,
he was top 3 all 4 seasons. So I think Tomasello probably is above Jaggers. I think that would be a fair statement. I don't think he is going to leapfrog over Kyle Snyder or Logan Stieber. So I think that lands him in third.
I agree with that.
And then, I mean, I think that it's really hard to debate here. Kyle Snyder and Logan Stieber. Like Logan Stieber got it done 4 times. Kyle Snyder had his chance, but he got pinned.
He got pinned. That's the toughest part.
I was like, I think that as much as I love Kyle Snyder, I think that he is number 2 to Logan Stieber, both on win percentage and in national championships. I mean, Logan Stieber, whether you want to say it's a controversial call or not, he still is awarded the win in the win column.
Yeah.
And, even if he did lose, he would still have a better win percentage than Kyle Snyder.
Yeah, 119 and 3 compared to 75 and 5. He had like nearly 50 more matches.
And he was a Haas Trophy
Kyle Snyder was doing a lot of it during his Olympic years. Yes.
That's true too. Yeah, I mean Stieber's the best of the best for Ohio State for sure.
Yeah, I think that's
and then Kyle Snyder, despite him being amazing.
Yeah, I mean 75 and 5 as like only 75 wins. Like that's not a lot of team points,
Yeah. No. That is very true. Stieber almost 120 wins.
All right, so there you guys have it. That is our list for best Ohio State wrestlers under Coach Tom Ryan. We have Logan Stieber as number 1, Kyle Snyder 2, Nathan Tomasello 3, Jay Jaggers 4, Miles Martin 5, Mike Basillo 6, Colin Moore 7, Bo Jordan 8, Lance Palmer 9, and in the 10 slot, Sammy Sasso. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. And, maybe there's some exciting new Ohio State freshmen like, what's the guy's name?
Nick Feldman, Jesse Mendez,
and
Nick Bouzakis.
Bouzakis.
Bouzakis and Mendez, they could potentially be on this list in a few years.
Knocking really some of these guys out.
Really good young studs in those 3.
Thanks for watching. We are Cactus Wrestling, and we'll see you next time on our next video.